My name is Connor McCormack. I'm the head winemaker at Brooklyn Winery. Brooklyn Winery is an urban winery located in Brooklyn, New York. We started in 2010. That was our first vintage. And so we just completed our 5th harvest, which is really exciting. And we're located in North Williamsburg in Brooklyn, bringing in grapes, and we're doing all the processing on site. It's a lot easier, and it's it'll probably be cheaper rent if you do it probably out in wine country. But the concept behind it was really to bring the winemaking process to people and kind of lift that veil so people could really have access to it. There's definitely pros and cons to it. As far as equipment and as far as processing and actually making the wine, it's exactly the same. For me, I'm going out and I'm contracting with growers who are really talented growers from really special sites. And so getting that product, those grapes, is key. So once you get that, and you get it here, which is another logistical challenge, but once we get that done, actually on site, it's the same as any winery. So it gives me great freedom to basically do whatever you want. Being in New York City, we're not in a growing AVA, what it's called, so I feel like I can pull from resources that we have available, so great AVAs from all across the country. As a winemaker, it's really fun for me to be making Los Carneros Pinot Noir and Finger Lakes Riesling and North Fork Merlot. They're all so different, and they all pose their own challenges, but it's really fun for me and keeps me on my toes. We're a block and a half from the subway, from the Bedford L train. So we have people coming to us and saying that allows me to experiment just in general. I'm always doing small batch trials, trying different things, and I can kind of gauge what people like and actually sometimes break some of those barriers. So I'm getting it all the time where I'm doing specific styles of, say, Chardonnay or even Riesling, where it's a very unusual way to do it or not what they're expected. And people come in and get it all the time. It's like, oh, I've never had that before. I really like it. So I'll bring in the same fruit from the same vineyard and treat it very differently in the cellar, and you can get very different wines. For example, a stainless steel fermented Chardonnay versus a barrel fermented Chardonnay, along with a skin contact Chardonnay, which is more like an orange wine. 3 same wines, from the same vineyard, completely different, and people can have a flight, and they really kind of expand their knowledge that way in a very tactile environment. Well, when we actually found the site, it was a matter of availability, because to have this mixed-use light manufacturing with being able to do the hospitality as well was actually really difficult from a zoning perspective. So it actually narrowed our options quite a bit. And I've had experience in urban wineries in the past. I was previously at the largest urban winery in San Francisco. So I know space constraints, and so it's basically a massive game of Tetris at all times. And everybody has to be very flexible. Right now we're maxed out. I can't fit another barrel in here. In 2010 we did about 2,500 cases of wine, and last year we did 9,000 cases of wine. You can kind of see it, you're drinking the wine that's made right there. You can come back and check out a tour, and you kind of get a closer understanding of what and how wine is made. It's the same consumer, but different perception, and different experience. So we're not a traditional tasting room. We're not a traditional winery in many ways. In fact, the production side, yes, but we're making wine. So it's rather than just like we're doing a winery hop. I'm going to hit 5 wineries today. We want you to come here and spend hours with us. For a while, there actually was some urban wineries in the West Coast, starting in the 80s in Berkeley and Oakland, and that's now continuing, expanding up and down the coast. So you look at Seattle, Portland. I was recently in contact with, they were in Marseille in France. They have an urban winery and they actually got an encouragement from us, like, these guys can do it in Brooklyn, we can do it here. And it's just because it's a very different model, especially in Europe, where you'd be like, you don't do that. But once people kind of realize that you don't need to be actually right next to that vineyard to make great wine, as long as you get those grapes to your winery in really great condition, which requires careful hand picking, the transportation is really important, you can make excellent wine without being on an estate.